Hey, what's up guys? It's Frankie. And in this video, I'm going to cover how to make the best performing Facebook ad you've ever written. And if you do this for yourself in your own business or for clients, it's really the same process either way. And when you do this, not only will you write the best performing ad of your entire life, but they'll actually convert right out of the gate first time. So let's get into it. So I know that's probably a big promise, and for a lot of you guys that are like veterans of running Facebook ads, that's probably not been your experience. I know my experience, especially in the beginning, has been split testing a lot of things and trying this targeting and that image and this audience and all those things. And I'll tell you, one of the things that really helped me to make this whole thing better was actually understanding how to dramatically simplify Facebook ads. And after about 10 years of running ads, both for myself, spent hundreds of thousands on my own business and millions for clients, I've learned that there's probably three things that matter more than anything else. And it's kind of fitting that we're in the forest, because it's a really good metaphor when you think about the fact that the forest is made up of a lot of individual trees, and together they make up one forest. And what most people do is they focus on the little leaves of the tree and split test those. And I see things like orange button, red button, blue button, or this image, that image, but on a poorly performing ad. So the three pieces, and I'm gonna give you guys some like really super awesome insights here that are really gonna make the biggest difference. The first is obviously your targeting. Before you can really convert, you gotta be showing your ad to the right people. And I'll tell you something that saved me a lot of time and headaches, which is, I call it the idea of the shoe buyer. And it's a little bit counterintuitive, because imagine for a second that you're selling shoes, that your business is selling shoes to other people. I think we're gonna get rained on a little bit here. And as somebody who sells shoes, our first instinct is usually to go and sell shoes to somebody who's barefoot. We think about the client, especially if we sell digital marketing service and we run Facebook ads for other people, we tend to think of the person who most needs it. But in actuality, the person that you want to sell ads to is the person, or you want to sell your product to, I should say, is the person who's already got a closet full of shoes. And so there's usually a dead giveaway in the targeting. I'll tell you the simplest shortcut you can take on that is to target the other gurus or big brands in the niche. So, for example, if I'm, getting into the motivational space, and maybe this is probably a bad example, but the people who follow Tony Robbins or other maybe lesser known motivational speakers are probably already buying those motivational things and products. And so those are the simplest people to show ads. And before you get into your own stuff, you got to make sure you're getting in front of the buyers. Because a lot of times what we don't realize is when we try and chase after people who aren't buyers, there's actually two hurdles. One is you got to convince them to buy anything at all. And then the second one is you got to convince them to buy it for you. So it's two hurdles, right? You got to convince them, the barefoot person, that they need shoes and that you're the best person to get shoes from, which is very different than when somebody has 200 pairs of shoes in the closet. You just got to convince them that you got some kind of new shoe that they would want. So the second thing, and I think this is probably the most important step that people miss, is your message and your offer. And I use those interchangeably because they go hand in hand. And too many times what people do is they write an ad which they think is cool to themselves. And almost always it misses the mark, because our customers think in simpler experiences. And I'll give you a really simple example of this. So in our mastermind, we were talking about somebody who works with dentists, and out of their conversations with dentists, it came out that their hygienist chair was empty, and that was a particular pain point because they're paying their hygienist $90,000 a year to have an empty chair. And it's interesting because most of like the marketing services people are trying to sell to those kind of people are, we'll get you number one in Google, we'll get you more patients, we'll make you more money. And in actuality, their problem is much, much simpler. It's just like, the chair's empty. And so there's only really one way to find this out. And this is the biggest secret I've had in writing my best performing ads, which is to take 2 hours and really do a deep dive in listening to your market. And I'll give you 4 places that'll make your life a whole lot easier, where they're already having conversations. And you don't need all 4, just need one of them. But one of those places where you can spy on their conversation is Reddit. Almost always there's a subreddit for your groups of people, and you can just look at the kinds of questions and the kinds of conversation they're already having. So I did this organically at the start of March 2021. A bunch of people posted, or 2020, a bunch of people posted, has anyone lost clients because of the pandemic? And I saw like a gazillion people commented on it, said me. So I wrote a guide, a little 8-page guide that said, here's how to win back clients in the pandemic. And of course, everybody wanted it. But that came directly out of listening. Second one is Amazon. The reviews in particular. There's already books being written on your topic. And you can read those reviews and find out what actually matters to people. Really listen to them. Third, website called Quora. And I'm blanking on the 4th one right now for a second. So the third piece, and a lot of people will know this is important but don't know how to do it right, which is obviously to write really awesome performing Facebook ads, you need images that stand out and that pop. And I'll tell you a little story that illustrates the power of doing images right, which is there was a guy selling hurricane-proof windows for a company down in Florida in America, for those of you who are not from America. And he was the number 1 hurricane-proof window selling guy, to the point where he was outselling number 2, number 3, number 4, or 5, like double, triple, quadruple. Like he was just selling way more than everybody else. And they had their big annual sales conference, and they brought the guy up and said, "What's your secret?" And everybody's looking for the sales closing technique and all these strategies. And it turned out that his solution was actually a whole lot simpler, which is he grabbed a hammer and he went to the window and he went smash. Said, "See? Hurricane-proof windows." So you want to think about your images not as like, how can I grab their attention, but how can I actually demonstrate to the right person? And you really want to focus this in on one person. Like the best performing ads should be written to one specific person. So I'll give you an example of one we're doing right now. There's a guy in our mastermind, awesome guy named Joseph. And Joseph has broken through now where he's got 1 million sales calls and he's signing up clients, but now he's busier than he's ever been. And that's a new kind of stress that he didn't have before. I think we're going to sit down here under the bridge for just a moment on the water. And so part of the offer that I created out of that is using videos so you don't even have to get on the phone. It's one of the things we've achieved in our agency, is not needing the phone at all to sign up clients. And when you really combine those 3 things really, really well, where you target the shoe buyers and you take a few hours to really write a message that's meaningful to somebody, and then you have an image that demonstrates it, what you'll find is almost always, I've had very rare exceptions, it takes you a lot longer to write one ad, but what ends up happening is the ad writes itself and you tend to make sales right away. So if you guys do that, you'll get away from all the things most people have to do, which is all the split testing and having a bunch of mediocre performing ads. And I'm not saying like testing things isn't beneficial, but I don't know if you've been doing this a while, like me, you get kind of sick of having to test a gazillion variations, and it's nice just to be able to write one damn ad that works. So hopefully that's helpful to you guys. I'm going to walk a little more here, and make sure to subscribe if you're not already, and may the force be with you.